Uh, my father is ODing right now. The EMTs and everybody have just arrived. I'm down here because last time I administrated first aid, the police arrested me. In the fire department, the police arrested me. I was held down by the fire department and the police station. There's two women that are here who are high, and my grandfather says he was unaware of my father overdosing. So the Rockford Police Department and the fire department have made me afraid of. I'm down here because I'm afraid that they will hurt me. Um, in court, my grandfather has lied about my father and his drug addictions, and his assault and his violation of his parole, and his torture, and his criminal activity, and uh, and so once again, my father brought these two women in this house. The police are not going to arrest them for use of drugs. They're going to let them go. They should probably be imprisoned. The last girl he brought over was allegedly he and this other girl stole my guitar. So I feel a need. I have to record this video so that way it's understood that I don't do drugs. I don't even drink. I have done nothing wrong, and and so it's unfortunate, but like if that I can get in trouble if I don't record this video. I can get in trouble because they could say that I possibly was the police department are so messed up, and the fire department too are so messed up. They could allege that I was involved in this in some kind of way. I came into the room. I saw my father laying down on the ground. I did not proceed. I did not touch him, or anything. Last time when my grandmother fell and broke her arms, that day I was arrested. I was arrested. I administrated first aid. My grandfather went in there. He saw that he was keeled over, and my grandfather just said, "Call the police." And my grandfather even walked away from my father. My grandfather's getting a realization that my father has lied to him continuously over and over again. So I'm down here, and so he's going to be taken to the hospital, I guess. He so so this is so I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to tell my grandfather we need to get him help. I even filed a court order for him to go get help, and that was the judge denied it. One judge accepted that order, and then the Rockford Police Department didn't follow through with getting him treatment, and so it has led to an overdose. My grandfather was in denial about my father's addiction problems, and has led to him overdosing. And so once again, I told the judge he needs to go get treatment, and the judge said okay. And the Rockford Police Department, the city of Rockford, and the fire department, nobody filed suit on that treatment, and has led to an overdose, my father's overdose. Um, and I can't, and I have to record this on video because, and this is happening in real time. I'll show you a date. Um, I'll show you a date. It's 11:34. It is 11:34 on the 9th of January. Sunday, the 9th of January. Um, and so I have I've continuously asked the city of Rockford to do the right thing and to address these problems the right way, and preventatively, and they have failed to do anything but prevent these matters from getting worse. Instead, the city of Rockford has made me homeless, forced me outside, and saw it no other way. Um, and so uh, the I believe that this overdose was I'm pretty sure is accidental. Um, but but due to these circumstances, um, I have these girls came into the house, and they knew that allegedly he left the house to go get more drugs, and to overdose, and so which I was not informed about. My grandfather, they were up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I fell asleep. I did not hear anybody leave and go get any kind of drugs. I can testify to that. There's there's yeah, I can testify to that. And so that he was here. When I went in there, I saw, I saw the I saw the remnants of the well of the well how do you say it? Like with the, um uh basically, and that's what everybody says, like they don't really know the name of it, but like when you're like taking a like amphetamine or something like that and you overdose, it's like, yeah. So he's doing that. My grandfather literally just like walked away. He just like walked away. I called 911. I called 911. I'll show you on here because it's important. Um, like emergency contact at 11:15. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if he walked out or what. But he was on the ground. The law has basically made me unable to approach anybody in the house and help them. Um, yeah, the law and with all the experience that I have, not that I have the right medication to provide to him in that case, like adrenaline, essentially adrenaline, but I was not able to save my grandmother's life under these conditions. But I am able to show you there are videos where my grandfather just like left the room. He just left the room. These two girls are high, doing drugs, and this is how my grandfather gets manipulated over his age, um, and so now these girls basically get to do drugs inside of my grandmother's house, and they're not going to get in trouble for it. I mean, the evidence shows that they just had marijuana. That they just had marijuana, but the truth is that they're probably doing it also. And they came in, started using the laundry and dryer. You can see how my grandmother passed away. You can see how my grandmother passed away in the city of Rockford. Hadn't done their job in identifying who was being hurt correctly. Um, and you can see how my grandfather lied for my father, and lied for my father. My father lied for my grandfather. So I couldn't do it. I can't do anything about it. Yep, my grandfather admits that we were both sitting in there when it happened, which is important because he just said it, which is important because technically, due to all these problems, my grandfather could have alleged that I was in the room too, or something. My grandfather has alleged otherwise, and I can get in just as much, I can get in trouble for it. I've slept in this basement the entire night, um, and they were walking back and forth all night. The Rockford Police Department said this is how it is for me. This is how it is. I I I've explained to them when I filed an order of protection. I explained that my father needs to get treatment at a center. Treatment at a center. And I can provide that in court. A treatment at a center, and it was for like 30 days, and the judge denied it. the judge denied it. And my grandfather lied for my father because he's done it his entire life. My father went to jail his entire life because my grandfather was there, and would lie for him because, like, your parents are gonna lie for you, no matter what. And so the judge did not the judge did not allow that extended order to be submitted, and it's led to my father getting an overdose. Um, so so nobody really listens to me, and that's it's not really, it is about being heard, um, but it's pretty logical that somebody who has an entire history of drug addiction, and needs help, and then I asked the city of Rockford to help, and they don't help. It's pretty obvious that is the problem here in Rockford, Illinois. That some people are treated better than other people. Some people are given more attention than other people, and it's with all the facts that are laid out there. All the facts that are laid out there. It does not matter. It does not matter who the individual is. How should I say it? It does not matter how much evidence you have to support your case. Some people are treated differently in Rockford, Illinois, and not taken seriously. I am one of them. I tried saving my grandmother's life, and my grandmother passed away. I tried saving my father's life. He could be dead, or he could be dying. Once again, my grandfather saw that he was lying on the floor, OD'd, and my grandfather immediately left the room, and he stated that he was going to get rid of those girls now, and that he was going to fix all of this. For some reason, and I'm going to keep talking. For some reason, like, the city of Rockford didn't listen to me whatsoever. Did not listen to me whatsoever. Done nothing wrong. I've never threatened anybody. I've never assaulted anybody. I've never hurt anybody. I forgive, and when you forgive, people feel guilty. I forgive, and when you forgive, people feel guilty about doing it, because people do things because they're emotionally unstable, and I'm able to work through that with people, and they tend to ease, like, their tension tends to ease. I once again, on this OP, on this order of protection, I specifically asked the judge to treat my father, and for 30 days, and so the initial was the police did not come into the house and submit and give him that OP initially, so we waited a week, and then when that OP was given, he was not he was not properly served, and then he had to be properly served, and he never. And then when we went to court and he was there, the judge did not make him get help, and now he has overdose. And I've sat there and told the judge this is what happened, and I provided evidence and footage, and nothing was done. So the city of Rockford is basically allowing people to die of habitual drug use, even if somebody's there to state that they need help. It can be help can be prevented, just like it was with my grandmother. Um, it Help can be prevented if one person doesn't want to believe that they have addiction problem. Um, I I think everybody has left, but I mean, this is a 14-minute video, um, and I had to go downstairs to the police asked who called. They said I called, which I did. I used the telephone, and not emergency. Our landline wasn't working, because I think we both picked up at the same time. So I picked up the cell phone that I have, and that was it. So, I am emotional right now, because, like, I don't want him to die. Like, I wouldn't want him to. I don't like I wouldn't want anybody to die. I wouldn't like that's I want to make that clear is that I've tried saving my grandmother's life from getting assaulted and not rehabbed correctly, and I tried I stayed out of his life. I completely stayed out of his life. My grandfather's requests were to stay out of his life, out of his completely, and so I've done that. My father had approached me several times, threatened to hurt me, threatened to kill me. He threw away my guitar. He had stole my guitar and my clothing. Um, and so the issue is that my the issue is that um, when my grandmother fell, and I proceeded to administrate as a first responder. I was arrested with all the skills that I've acquired, um, and so I did not proceed with my father. Um, yeah, I'm down here. What happened? Well, it's not. I mean, they took him away. I'll double check it. So, my father's bringing over women who were doing drugs in the house. These women have histories of drug use, um, and I have my grandfather has let my father use his car and drive out all around town, and do drugs. I have told the court that my father has done drugs, and nothing was done about it. My I've explained, and the police came to the house. I explained that he's doing drugs. The issue is that potentially my father did not OD. That potentially that this could have been staged. This whole thing, this whole ordeal could have been staged. Because my grandfather didn't seem like he was very, didn't seem like he cared. Didn't seem like he cared at all. So the city of Rockford, basically, I told them, all, and then they said the police came. So the police, there's no police report for when the police came for this um, for this case. Came for this case, and this was on the 7th of 2022. 7th of 2022, and they said that my father could do drugs if he wanted to. They said it's his house. I told them that he's doing drugs, and so I told them that he's doing drugs, and then I asked the court so they could take him to rehab, and none of that was done. Not only did they not arrest him, not only did they not arrest him, they did for violating the order of protection in court, but they did not send him to rehab like was stated on the order of protection. And so it's like, is my father just killing over and saying like, yep, we're just gonna stage this whole thing? It's just like, it's kind of unreal. My grandfather's not freaking out. My grandfather's used to it. But because the Rockford Police Department don't have body cam footage of it, I went online and I checked to see if they had body cam footage of it, and they don't. Of this police report, they don't have body cam footage of it. They don't have body cam footage of this police report. The police report RP 22 000498 000498, and so it can be looked at as like an accidental overdose. It's just that like if there's a like it's yeah, I've explained to I explained to the city of Rockford that they come in at like 4 o'clock in the morning, drunk, high, and the police department said it's okay, it's his house, it's my father's house, my and and the issue is that like it's not my father's house, it's very much not my father's house, and I told my aunt that this is happening, and she has done nothing. The only thing my aunt has done is try to work to get me out of this house, so that she could own this house. Apparently, I have told her that I've been assaulted. I've been assaulted laying down on the couch, and she didn't do anything. I told the police department he's aggressive and he's violent, and they did not do anything. And I was told I can't call by the police department. The police department who came here, they by the officers who came here with this paperwork, they told me that because I filed an emergency order of protection. I filed a emergency order of protection. My father left. I asked on that emergency order of protection that my father get treatment, and so then when the police came, when the judge did not grant the order, and then when the police came, because when he came back, I called the police and I said like, is this okay? Is this safe? Like I don't feel safe. And so when the police came, they're like, well, don't call us. They're like, don't call us. It's not really it's not our problem. Like if he wants to drink and do drugs in his house, it's okay. And that's what the police officer said. The police officer verbatim said if he wants to drink and do drugs in his house, that's okay. My grandfather denied it. My grandfather said he was unaware of it actually happening. It's because when because that when it's your kid, you don't want to see it, and 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 the issue is that these women can sue my grandfather and me. They can sue my grandfather and me for this accidental overdose and doing drugs and allowing it to happen here. I have asked the police I've asked the police to to do to do their job, and I had been assaulted too many times and falsely arrested that they have not done. They have it's they have not done their job. Once again, I could have saved. I don't know if he's. I think he's going to live, but once again, I could have. I could have prevented this overdose from happening if the city of Rockford actually listened to me, but and had done what I told them to do. But instead, the city of Rockford has falsely arrested me 7 times, has assaulted me, has forced me to be homeless, forced me into a car. I was forced into a car and driven out of the county, and and that's the evidence on these videos will support that. I lost every muscle in my body. I lost every single muscle in my body. I was assaulted many times. My grandmother was assaulted many times. My grandmother fell and she wasn't properly rehabbed, and I could not rehab her. The police department and the Department of Aging said that I couldn't do anything for my grandmother, and and so that'd be Mercy at Home Health. I reported elder abuse about my grandmother many times, and several times, not many, because I was told if I do it again, that I would get in trouble. And meaning by I would be forced to I'd be forced to sleep outside, and the issue was that that's pretty much it. I'd be forced to sleep outside. And my aunt forced my grandmother to sign a power of attorney, so my aunt was theoretically responsible for my grandmother, unless she was never here. And so all these things, it's all these things are the result of just horrible, just horrible people. I'm just gonna say horrible people. I have not lied once. I've told the truth. I've not lied. I have told the truth. The fact that he may have overdosed, he may not have overdosed, is not my problem, and I just want to make that clear. Is that we found him in his room, keeled over, and and his body into the somewhat the fetal position. I did not proceed to touch him. I did not proceed to administrate first aid. As the last time I did that, I was arrested by the Rockford Police Department. I was arrested, then I went to jail due to corruption. It's simply corruption. I mean, you don't go to jail. Nobody goes to jail for administrating first aid on their grandmother, but I did. I went to jail for that, and in my entire life, like I've gone to school for biology, chemistry. First aid is the back of my hand. Been certified, and pretty much anything an emergency medical technician can do, I pretty much can do. And so the city is well, like I don't know if my father's going to live or not, but being falsely arrested 7 times, due to corruption, can result in the death of somebody result in somebody's death. Not only the person who it happened to, but if any other family members are unstable and are addicts, they can revert back to their addictions to cope with the stress of the environment that they're living in. I did And that's important, is that the stress, I have not approached my father. I have not threatened him. I've never threatened him. I've never approached him. I've never even raised my hands to him. He has assaulted me, laying down. He has thrown away my clothing, my guitar. Um, he has threatened to hurt me. Um, and I've never been in these videos. I have not shared with anybody in my family. My family members do not know about it. Allegedly, when I saw my grandfather's text messages, I went through his phone, and I did not see anything but happy text messages from them. They are completely unaware of what has happened. So there is nothing that connects my family members to what has happened here, from what I've seen, and that's very important. Um, and so uh, if and and I don't know if that's, I think, I don't know if there's anything else. How I feel right now, it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. Like I said, I'm in denial about my grandmother's death. I'm in denial about my grandmother's death. I wasn't here for that, and because I feel the pain, I feel the emotion about that, and it's deep, and it makes me, at this moment, it makes me want to shed tears. But because I remain in denial, I don't have the response that somebody would be, as I'm able to handle my emotions. So right now, this just happened. My mind is seeing this as a location where an incident happened. I'm not thinking like a relative. I'm thinking like a first responder, and I am now, and I had and talking through this video. It's because I have to talk through this video because I can't administrate help to anybody in this house. Um, and theoretically, if I did help or try to help anything, could be used in the court of law to as something I've done negatively, because I'm not officially hired by anybody. Then staying away and not administrating first aid protects me 100%. I become unprotected the minute I put my hands on my father, and I did not do that. And that's how the city sees it. After what the city has done to me, they've made me understand that I can't help anybody, and it's possibly now cost two people's lives, my grandmother's life, and possibly now my father's life. Possibly my father's life is now costed them possibly two lives. Um, so uh, and allegedly, I guess I say that the drugs were issued this morning early, but I didn't. My grandfather was up. I don't know if that's true. I don't believe it to be true. Um, it's I believe my father had received the drugs prior to, maybe got more. But my grandfather is not going to the hospital to see my father, so I don't know why he wouldn't do that. If you love your kids so much, like, wouldn't you go to the hospital? Um, my grandfather wasn't even in shock when it happened. My grandfather wasn't in shock when it happened. So it's kind of bothersome that, like, he's not freaking out. My grandfather's used to this. He didn't believe my father was doing drugs. Um, and these girls, the worst part is that these girls who are here can allege many things that have happened since, because of this incident. Um, my father's last girl that he was with, she stole his car allegedly. My grandfather hasn't really communicated these things with my father. My father must be intimidating my grandfather, and lying to him. I don't know if that's true. I mean, my father was out with my grandfather's car for over 12 hours, basically leaving my grandfather stranded. Um, and so yeah, um, leaving my grandfather stranded, and my grandfather's unstable, in denial. He's aggressive. Um, he is he's aggressive in denial, and he's allowing this kind of behavior from my father. He always, in my entire life, he has allowed this behavior to go on. That's how my father ended up in jail so many times. My father has always been a criminal. Um, has always been a criminal, and was never properly rehabbed from his addictions. I've asked the city to do that. I have been prevented from filing any paperwork to have officiated. My grandfather did not want me to. Did not want me to. So it's messed up. It's very messed up. I tell my grandfather he's doing drugs. My grandfather says he's not doing drugs. Paraphernalia in the bedroom. There's drugs, and like I mean, the first thing I would do is I would have asked to administrate a drug test. I would ask if you can please administrate a drug. Can you, like, you need a drug test before you enter this house, and you need to pass the drug test. But I wasn't able to even do that. My grandfather would not allow that. Because that would, with the proper chain of command, with the paperwork, it would be officiated that either you pass a drug test or you fail a drug test, and it would be more clear evidence of what is actually happening in this house. I couldn't work out. I couldn't work out. I couldn't use the stove. Couldn't use the laundry. Couldn't do the laundry. I was assaulted, laying down. My grandmother was assaulted. My grandmother was yelled at, mistreated. She had dementia. She was forced to sit in the bathroom with the lights turned off, and while she was in a wheelchair. And my father lied for my grandfather in this case. It's a really messed up situation. But if you can see it clearly, it's that yeah, you're taking her home. No, I do not want to go. Why would I want to go? Why would I want to go? Well, because under these conditions, like, why would I want to go? Under these conditions, like, I mean, hell, the police department can come in and say, like, I don't live here. The police department can come in here and say I don't live here. SWAT team come in here and say I don't live here, and then like, they already came in and pointed their guns to my head previously when I was here with my grandmother. Like, I'm not saying this was a staged incident, but like I said, I was unable to. I was unable to. I didn't touch my father. The last thing that the girl said was that she's gonna. The last thing the girl said to me when I was sleeping on the couch and she was doing laundry was that what was that that, like, I can use it doesn't matter what the exact words were, because I think I've said enough truth, but it was that she had said that 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 what is happening is resulting in like, I have this. She's on her way upstairs, right here, and she says, like what's happening between me and my father. She said it has to be resolved. That's what those were her exact words. Has to be resolved between me and my father. So, So that's now my grandfather's taking home somebody who also has a drug addiction problem, an alcohol problem. Um, and I lost every muscle in my body. I lost every muscle in my body. I was forced to sleep outside. I was hurt very bad. Um, all my belongings were taken from me, and so all my belongings were taken from me. I was assaulted many times. I never threatened anybody. I never hurt anybody. Um, and it's that I can technically still get hurt. I can still get hurt. So I just want to. I think I'm gonna end that video here. People need to, I think, know that that the crimes that have been committed have like lead to torture. And I've told the police that that these people need help, and the police have hurt me. The police hurt me for saying that these people need help, and that's a major problem. And yeah, it's my father who was laying down on the floor, keeled over. I saw a spoon, I saw paraphernalia, but I don't know what it could be from. There's a lot of prescription pills. There's a lot of prescription pills in the house. I've already saw that there was promethazine in the house that my grandfather was prescribed. I don't know where that's at. Like I said, my father has a history of drug addiction, abuse, and abuse and violent offenses. So the state of Illinois had allowed him to come to this house and assault me and terrorize me, and they had not violated his parole and did not allow me to do anything about it. It's pretty messed up, and it's pretty messed up. This could have been prevented if the city of Rockford and the county of Winnebago did what they're supposed to, and instead it's pretty horrible. It's bad. It's bad all around. Bad policing. It's bad. It's bad. And the police literally said that it's okay. It's okay if he does this. Police said it's okay. Like I told him literally on the day that they came tonight. I told them, and they said the police said it was okay. I told the police he was doing drugs, and he's doing drugs. And I said it's okay. I said it's okay. That's how messed up the Rockford Police Department is. That's how wrong they are. They said it's his house. If he wants to do drugs, it's okay. If he wants to do drugs, it's okay. Because my grandfather has given my father co-ownership of the house, allegedly. What's happened is he put the lease in. The lease is in the deed is in my grandfather's name, and the lawyer has it in the transfer of ownership in limbo. So so technically, my grandfather can say my father owns the house. My father can say my grandfather owns the house, and this is how and so because the ownership of the house. The law transfers when the ownership gets transferred from the house, the law transfers over to the owner, and so you're unable. So certain rights are omitted if you're not the owner of the house, and other rights are permitted if you are the owner of the house. So once again, certain rights are omitted if you're not the owner of the house, and certain rights are permitted. Certain rights are permitted if you are the owner of the house. So that it's like a constant. Whoever breaks my father breaking the law, he doesn't own the house. And I can give you examples, but if you're not smart enough to understand this what I'm saying, then it's then you shouldn't be a decision maker. You should just be listening at this point. And I'm upset because I requested the judge get him treatment at a facility for 30 days, and the judge did not. And the judge granted it, but the police and everybody else did not follow through with it. Um, and he's a violent offender, and he needed to be arrested. And I don't know if my grandfather is not freaking out about this, and that's kind of something that I'm trying to understand. Is my grandfather should be a little bit more upset about it, and that's important. Is that my grandfather is not acting. My grandfather did not act freaked out. Um, he acted calmly, as if and so he acted calmly. And then he immediately walked. He didn't immediately walk away. He was up there. I didn't approach the scene until I started recording, and then I left the scene and I called 911. So there was about 7 minutes in between. Or it was about about 5 to 7 minutes between. It was around 5 minutes. It wasn't 7 minutes. It was about 5 minutes between hearing the women screaming, and then me going up there, and waiting to see what was happening, and then calling the police. It was about a total of five to um, max. It was a total of it was like it was around 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, 5 to 6 minutes. It couldn't have been longer than it wasn't longer than 7 minutes. I can guarantee you that. Um, so because I did check, um, and that's when the police were dispatched. Um, my grandfather My grandfather was there in the room, and he walked away. He also walked away. So that's important, that he also walked away. And when my grandfather called the police, when our grandfather called the police, he also he acknowledged. I can't remember if on the phone he told the police that we were well. Hold on. Sorry. See that? I called the police, and I called the police, and they came. When they came here, my grandfather said to the police that we were in the same room when this was happening. We were in the living room together when this was happening. So that's important. My grandfather did not call the police. They had me call the police. I almost didn't say that correctly. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why my grandfather is. He's taking the other girl home. He's taking the other girl home. Like, wouldn't you want to go to the hospital for your son? Like, wouldn't you? Like, you've been lying for him this entire time, and you have stuck up for him in the court and lied under oath and allowed him to throw away my stuff and steal my stuff. Like, why would you not go? Like, why would a drug problem? Because he's probably okay. I don't know. Why would a drug problem like stop like your love for your child? Like, because my grandfather doesn't think my father's a more dangerous person. He's using all this. He's basically using the drug issue as like the last final straw, and like maybe like as like an end to it, like an end to it. Because what my grandfather said is that he's gonna put an end to all this. He's gonna put an end to all this. And like, did you know that if you're a drug addict, you're always in remit, like you're in recovery, you're always in recovery. And so my grandfather had not asked my father to take classes. My grandfather never asked my father to continue like treatment. And he told me that nothing was wrong. My grandfather alleged that my father wasn't using drugs. He said that nothing was wrong. I'd asked him to do that. I asked the police department for that, and they said no. And this could he could be dying. My father could be dying right now. He could literally be dead. Like, but if he's but um but instead, yeah, believe it that my grandfather uh is so messed up in the head. He thinks that I had a problem. He basically he took all of my father's problems and put it on me to cope with the truth, because he sees his son as he saw his son as like a perfect person, as a perfect person. And then when he told the police when you tell the police the story, he wouldn't tell the truth to the police, and he'd make my father look like a better person than he was, and then state that like, no, I'm just like paranoid, that I'm paranoid. And if and paranoia and proactiveness are very much two different things. I'll say it again. Paranoia and proactiveness are very much two different things, because a life could be saved here, could have been saved here, and what has happened here, the crimes, the drug use and the crimes that happened here could have been prevented, and because these crimes are being committed here, and are occurring here, I could potentially become like, because this happened, I could potentially be wrongfully arrested for having any involvement in these crimes. And just once again, I just want to state that when this happened, I was in the living room with my grandfather, and before that, I was down here sleeping, and I had videos posted of me. You know, they were up all night, like up all night. You know, they came back at 1 o'clock in the morning. They took my grandfather's car. My father took my grandfather's car at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Didn't come back until like 1 o'clock at night. And my grandfather was told that he'd come back he would be back soon, because of in the last 24 hours, the roads got very slippery. Like, I couldn't even walk on the sidewalk yesterday evening when I went to the grocery store, because I walked to the grocery store, and and every single piece of concrete was covered with a layer of ice, so it was not even easy to walk on the sidewalk. And so yes, the roads were slick and dangerous. And my grandfather believed that my father was coming home within just a couple hours, and he was out for over 12 hours. So my grandfather's unstable, and so is my father, and that's how my grandmother passed away, is due to neglect. I tried giving my grandmother. My grandmother was unable. My grandfather denied my grandmother of care. Type of care she needed. My aunt denied my grandmother the type of care that she needed. My aunt forced my grandmother to sign a power of attorney, and she was neglected. She was assaulted, and she was battered, neglected, and I told the city of Rockford, and they didn't do anything about it. The police department, I told the police department, they didn't do anything about it. I mean, I told the police department he's doing drugs, and the police officer who came said that, like, it's his house. If he's doing drugs in his house, then it's his house. And yeah, it's just the people who are running the city are not running the city the right way. And it's difficult. I understand and I understand why. And getting the right information, I understand how difficult it is to get the right information. I understand that it's difficult because you have to believe somebody's story. You have to believe somebody's story. So there's, yeah, but I lost every muscle in my body. I couldn't walk after the last incident. There was so much pain and suffering that I went through, I couldn't walk. And if I couldn't walk, my grandmother couldn't walk. You can see how my father prevented me from my father. I had to, I basically, stayed in this house for quite a while, taking care of my grandmother. And under those circumstances, the law said I couldn't take care of my grandmother, which is really messed up because nobody else was. And so she passed. Because then I had to leave. I was forced into a car. I had to leave the premises. I was driven. I had to leave the house, and it was just like, what the hell, like what the hell. And then and that's when she passed away. Months after. It was like 8 months after that she passed away. She didn't want him here with people. Like, she didn't want him to bring people over. She didn't want him to own the house. she didn't want him to, my grandmother never visited him. He was in prison his entire life. Just, you got on it. I mean, that's like it's just insane. It's insane how somebody who's been pretty much perfect their entire life, but had got hurt so bad, and somebody who's an addict, gets released from prison and and then ends up hurting this person, and the police just say okay. It's pretty messed up. I am resilient. I'm emotionally stable. I am strong. I am. It's like I've worked on these. I've worked on handling these emotions for for the last decade now. For the last decade. Like working through all these working on the symptoms that lead up to somebody's death. The symptoms that lead up to somebody's death, social, economically, and mentally, haven't been taken seriously. Not by the city of Rockford. Haven't been taken seriously, and led to false arrest, torture, and neglect, elder abuse. That's just what happened. I just spoke for 59 minutes. I just spoke for an hour, minus the 10 minutes I was upstairs, and I can talk about this for enough. I can talk about this for a long time and still provide new information. I can provide new information, and I have to provide this information to as an affidavit of my whereabouts when this crime happened, because of the way the city is ran. That I could be somehow tied to my father, being a drug addict and doing drugs and assaulting women. And so could my grandfather, because my grandfather purchased this house. My father has put me and my grandfather at risk. So it just keeps my grandfather said he's going to put an end to it now, so maybe they are, but it's been 1 hour. So if a judge is going to state that it's okay for these living conditions to occur after all of this, if the judge is going to state that it's okay for these living conditions to occur because my grandfather says it's okay after all of this, then I've tried. It is unacceptable. I want to make that clear. This is unacceptable. I under these conditions, it is horrible. It is horrible that it is horrible how the emotion of the court and of the case will decide the outcome, regardless of if it is logical or not. And my father had a lawyer, and they said, "Yeah, come back in here." It's like, just get him treatment. I don't need to go into it. I don't need to go into it. It's messed up. And what happened to me is on a level that's so disgusting that it's nuts. It's not right.